Coming up on the November 19th edition of Sports Extra. Goalkeeper Scott Goodwin saves the day for the men's soccer team. In field hockey, Carolina's the bridesmaid again. And he's back. Hubert Davis has high hopes for the basketball team. All that and more. Sports Extra's coming at you right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
Hello and welcome to Sports Extra, Carolina's only sports highlights, analysis, and issues show. I'm Will Reimer.
It's a lot of the thrill of victory and a little bit of the agony of defeat this week. I'm Jennifer Brodish.
Fortunately, much more of the former than the latter here at UNC. I'm Natalia Perez. Thanks for joining us.
A Tale of Two Cities. I never read it. Sorry, Miss McMillan, but I've seen a tale of two football teams these past couple weeks. Mike Rodriguez joins us live in the studio. Mike, it seems like just a week ago, the Heels allowed 68 points to Georgia Tech.
Well, you really missed out on a great book. I definitely recommend it. But you're right, the Heels defense forgot about that performance quickly. I was in Charlottesville Thursday night when they allowed the fewest points to an ACC opponent this season.
The defense forced 2 turnovers Thursday night, including this interception by junior defensive back Trey Boston. The 36-yard pick six was the first touchdown of his career and gave the Heels a 10-point lead going into halftime. The Cavs' only touchdown was on a scramble and heave in the second quarter. Senior linebacker Kevin Reddick pressured the Cavs QB, but didn't get there in time, who found the hole in the secondary and capitalized for 6. Despite a strong offensive performance by the Heels, redshirt sophomore tailback Giovanni Bernard struggled on the ground, rushing for only 57 yards on 15 carries, one of his worst performances this season. Junior tailback A.J. Blue didn't mind picking up some of the slack. He fought hard for this touchdown. But junior quarterback Bryn Renner was ready to shoulder the load in the national spotlight Thursday. Renner was nearly perfect, completing 29 of his 36 passes for more than 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Bernard caught 4 passes, including this touchdown to make it a 2-score game early in the fourth quarter. On Virginia senior night, it was Carolina senior wideout Eric Highsmith who stole the show, catching 2 of Renner's 3 touchdown passes.
Highsmith and the rest of the seniors hope to be just as successful Saturday when they host Maryland on their senior day.
You know, it's our senior day too, but what senior football player should we pay special attention to, Mike?
Well, Sylvester Williams and Kevin Reddick will certainly play pro ball, so tickets might be a little more expensive. But for all the seniors, this will be the last time you get to see them play in Chapel Hill.
2 great defensive players, but what about anybody on the offense?
Well, guard Jonathan Cooper is the 3rd highest rated lineman according to Scouts Inc., and he's a projected high first-round draft pick. Saturday might also be your last opportunity to see Gio Bernard run all over the field at Kenan Stadium. The redshirt sophomore could leave early for the NFL.
That's something that every Tar Heel fan hopes doesn't happen. Thanks, Mike. That was Mike Rodriguez live in studio.
The Cavaliers had no answer for freshman wideout Hubert Davis, which is why he's the recipient of our offensive game ball for the 2nd consecutive week. Davis finished the game with 16 receptions for 178 receiving yards, both career highs. His 16 receptions set an ACC record for most catches in a game by a freshman. The Heels took advantage of the Cavaliers' soft coverage all night. You can see quarterback Bryn Renner connect with Davis after the flea flicker. Davis breaks free down the sideline for a big gain. The freshman wideout seems to be emerging as Renner's favorite target.
In addition to those ACC records, Davis also set some school records. Here's this week's hidden stat, or should I say stats. Davis's 16 receptions and 178 yards are new Tar Heel records, beating out Octavius Barnes and Hakeem Nicks respectively. He also set a new record for receptions in a season by a freshman with 52, beating Gio Bernard's 45 receptions last season. And he's had a chance to add to that total this weekend. You know, guys, I think Davis must have heard us talking about him last week because he had a heck of a game.
Yeah, he just keeps getting better. I just can't believe in the past 3 weeks he'd had career high in catches and the past 2 weeks career high in yards. So I don't know where he's going to go from here.
Yeah, you know, guys, I mean, now he's 5th in the ACC history for catches for a freshman, and he's 7th in the ACC for reception yards for a freshman.
He's a good one. Every Member of the defense put in a stellar performance Thursday, but Trey Boston picked up this week's defensive game ball. Boston led the team with 13 tackles and an interception return for a touchdown. The junior safety was all over the field, causing problems for Virginia quarterbacks throughout night helping the Heels hold the Wahoos to only 205 passing yards. Boston provided a huge momentum swing for the Heels when he intercepted a Virginia pass and followed his lead blocker all the way to the goal line before running over the Virginia quarterback. His pick six gave the Heels a 20-10 lead heading into half.
There were a lot of options for key play this week. I mean, Eric Highsmith's touchdowns, Trey Boston's pick six that we just saw.
You know, they don't always have to be scoring plays, right? Sometimes they can be stopping the other team from scoring. The Cavs didn't score. Down only a touchdown in the third quarter, Virginia tailback Kevin Parks is 2 yards away from tying the game and gets stuffed. But the Cavs have one more chance. It's 4th and goal from the 1 yard line. And what do? They give it to Parks again, who loses 2 yards and turns the ball over on downs. The Cavs never scored after that.
You know, the defensive line came up big on that key play.
They did, but the offensive line kept front runner upright. The Heels quarterback was sacked just once Thursday. And James Hurst is this week's offensive lineman of the game. The junior tackle had 12 knockdowns against the Cavaliers, and the coaching staff graded him at 93%. That's an A in anybody's gradebook, even here at the journalism school.
And Friday, the men's basketball team was out on the West Coast to face Long Beach State, which came in with a 23-game home winning streak, the longest such streak in the country. And in the first half, the 49ers were trying hard not to give up that streak. Both teams traded baskets, and the Heels took only a 1-point lead into halftime. But in the second half, UNC found the best way to pull away quickly, with the long ball. The Heels hit 7 out of 13 threes after halftime to cruise to a 78-63 win. PJ Hairston was feeling it. He had 14 points, and James Michael McAdoo led UNC players with 18 big points.
And after losing 4 starters to the NBA, the team has a new look this season on the court. Julian Caldwell joins us live in the Reese Phelps Digital Newsroom. That's not all that's new for the Heels this season, right, Julian?
That's right, Jennifer. The Heels also have a new member on the bench, and it's deja vu all over again for assistant coach Hubert Davis.
And he gives them the ability to shoot from the outside and score down low.
A few months ago, former Tar Heel and NBA player Hubert Davis was here for ESPN. But now he's back at Chapel Hill as an assistant coach on UNC's men's basketball team. That's after being called into Coach Roy Williams' office during the summer.
He said, "I'd like you to be a part of my staff." And he talked about 5 minutes after that, and I can't remember anything that he said.
Davis was a star for the Heels from 1988 to 1992. He played 12 years in the NBA and has spent 4 years as a top college basketball analyst with ESPN. But when Williams invited Davis back to UNC, it wasn't a hard decision.
And as soon as Coach asked me, I wanted to say yes. It was just yes.
Davis says he's comfortable relating to players and offering his three-point shooting expertise. But when he had to call plays in the game against Florida Atlantic, things were different.
That was crazy. I was like, oh my goodness. I had to draw up, I had a diagram during halftime. That was my first diagram that I'd get up on the board, and it was interesting.
In fact, the whole experience of being a Tar Heel again has been overwhelming for Davis.
I've told people it has been a gift that saying thank you is not enough. It's almost, stop it, it's too much.
But there's no time to stop. He's just getting started.
And Jennifer, Davis is not just any former UNC player. No one in Carolina history has shot better for a career from the three-point line. And you saw Carolina taking advantage of the three-ball, against Long Beach State this weekend.
It was certainly an improved performance from the three-point land against the 49ers in the second half. But the Heels struggled from 3 until then. Now, Julian, how does Davis feel about his team this season?
I asked Davis just the same question about this season's team, and he had 2 striking words: national championship.
Wow, a lot of confidence. Thanks, Julian. That was Julian Caldwell joining us live from the Reese Phelps Digital Newsroom.
With Long Beach State out of the way, the basketball team is in Hawaii for the Maui Invitational. The Heels play Mississippi State tonight at 6 p.m. They'll play either Marquette or Butler on Tuesday. The game will be at 8 p.m. if UNC beats Mississippi State, or 2:30 p.m. if the Heels lose to the Bulldogs. The final day of the tournament is Wednesday.
On to the next one, women's soccer through to the Elite 8.
More about the Heels' quest after the break.
We don't win unless we work together. It's how we play our best. It's how we survive on the field.
Now that same teamwork can save 13 million people
affected by the famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
Go to this site
and forward the facts to everyone you know. The more people who know, the more money we can raise.
And the more money we raise,
the more people we can help.
Because saving lives doesn't take a lot.
It just takes a lot of us.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
Straight years, 4 national title appearances for the field hockey team, but only 1 title. Sunday's national title game got off to a good start for the Heels. Charlotte Craddock opened the scoring in the 12th minute off a penalty corner, but Princeton answered right back with its own penalty corner just minutes later. 10 minutes into the second half, the Tar Heels took the lead again. Craddock dribbled through several defenders and set up for senior Katie Plyler for the Heels' second goal. But the Tigers answered right back again to tie the game at 2. Later, 2 Heels defenders took down a Tiger penalty player in the penalty area, setting up a penalty shot that sneaked past Tar Heel keeper Sasia Mayer for the winning goal. It's the 3rd straight loss in the national championship game for the Heels.
And joining us live in our satellite studio are Samantha Travers, Shanae Loughran, and Megan Drake, all returning next year for another shot at the national title. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. Let's dive right into it, shall we? This is the 3rd consecutive year that you've made it all the way to the Final Four, only to finish runner-up in the tournament. This question is for all 3 of you. What do you think Carolina could have done differently to produce a win?
There you go. It's kind of a hard question, but you know, to win a national championship takes a lot of luck. And the last 3 years, we just haven't had it. We did everything we could. We prepared. We had a great season. You know, we only had 1 loss prior to the loss yesterday. I just think it just wasn't our day. You know, we didn't play that well. We played a lot better in the semifinals, and like I said, I think it was luck.
Do either of you two have any other remarks with the same question?
Like Sam said, it wasn't per se our best game, but it also wasn't our worst game. We missed a few opportunities, far post, places we hope we can normally get goals out of, and also we ended up giving more penalty corners than we like, and they ended up scoring on 1 of their strokes and 1 of their penalty corners, which had we kept them out of the circle a little bit more, I think it would have helped us win that game.
Yeah, and as forwards, I think we could have done a better job maybe on our press work and recognised their key players in the centre, and just like mark them a little tighter.
And since all 3 of you are returning next year, thankfully, do you think that you guys are going to make another Final Four appearance next season? And if so, what do you think the team will have to work on to ensure that you bring home that national title?
Yeah, luckily we all will be returning. Next year it's going to be very different. We're losing a couple of key players like Kelsey,
We're
Poppy,
ending after this question.
and the rest of the seniors. It was a great group, but we're coming in. We're probably going to be the underdogs this year. We were supposed to win, but the supposed to's never really happened. So it might be good for us. I think we'll have a good season. I think we didn't know much about Princeton. It was the one team we didn't know anything about. We've never played them. Our coaches couldn't tell us how they were going to press us, and normally we know all of that. So things like that, I think we can prepare a little bit better on. We didn't expect to play Princeton, and I think that got us a little.
Well, I speak on behalf of everyone here in the studio, and I think I can say the campus, and we all look forward to seeing you 3 on the field next year. Thank you again for joining us. That's Samantha Travers, Shanae Loughran, and Megan Drake live in the studio. Thank you.
After destroying Illinois in the 2nd round of the NCAA playoffs Friday, the women's soccer team once again held the home field advantage.
Yeah, the Heels took on Baylor in the Sweet 16 Sunday. Kelly Glendenning has our weekend wrap-up.
Think this is amazing? Friday's game wasn't just fancy tricks. 7 different Tar Heels scored in UNC's biggest offensive drive since 2002. The Heels brought the the heat against the University of Illinois in the second round of the NCAA tournament Friday. But it was the Fighting Illini who took an early lead.
We did this, this, and this, and the goal happened. But I'll be honest, there was a little bit of me that said, uh-oh, we may have just woken the sleeping giant.
Carolina came out with a new intensity and scored 7 goals in the second half. The game ended with an unbelievable score of 9-2. With incredible momentum from their Friday win, the Tar Heels took on the Baylor Bears on Sunday at Fetzer Field. Baylor netted a goal with minutes left in the first half and sent the Heels into the locker room with their heads hanging. Neither team was able to end the game during sudden death, so the teams geared up for a round of penalty kicks. All 4 of Carolina's shots easily found the back of the net, while Baylor's final 2 shots failed to make it on frame. With a final PK score of 4-2, the Heels advanced to the NCAA quarterfinals.
Penalty kicks, it was clinical. Our kids stepped up. We've been practicing it daily and for the last 3 weeks, and I was very comfortable actually going into PKs.
All that practice definitely paid off, and the Happy Heels are delighted to advance. In Chapel Hill, I'm Kelly Glenn Denning.
And Carolina will travel to Utah to try to upset the number one seed BYU later this week.
In the second round of the NCAA Men's Soccer Championship, the Heels face UMBC. It was a nail-biter all the way to the end, and there were a lot of fans there, not all cheering for the Tar Heels, unfortunately. For 90 minutes, both teams struggled to put a single goal in the net in the effort to advance to the next round. In overtime, things were much different. It all came down to penalty kicks. The hero of PKs was goalkeeper Scott Goodwin. He blocked 3 penalty kicks for the Tar Heels to seal their berth in the third round, and for him, stopping the PKs was a simple game plan.
It's really just step up there and just go at it your hardest every time and just make a decision and just stick with it.
The Tar Heels advanced to the third round of the NCAA tournament for the 5th consecutive year. They'll host Farley Dickinson Sunday at Fetzer Field.
And redshirt sophomore cross-country runner Leanne Farber is an All-American. She finished 40th out of 253 runners at the National Championship. Her 6K time of 20 minutes and 18 seconds earned her the last All-American spot. Farber is the 11th female All-American for Carolina cross-country in the past decade.
The track and field team hasn't started its season yet, but one sprinter is already going to do some remarkable things off the track. Reporter Brenna Sukir tells us more.
140, 41, O'Neal Wanless is a sophomore sprinter on UNC's track team. He has a personal record of 47.33 seconds for the 400 meter, a minute 48 seconds for the 800 meter, and he also has a nonprofit, Spikes for Tykes.
Collect new and gently used spikes from the various competitions and the teams that we compete against, and I package them up and send them over to Jamaica, where my family's from.
Wanless started the organization during his senior year of high school for a capstone project. Since then, he's been able to send more than 100 pairs of spikes to children in Jamaica. The summer before he came to UNC, Wanless traveled to Jamaica to personally deliver the spikes he'd collected.
It was great, and it's great to donate to the kids and seeing their, the reaction to everything. They're so excited, ecstatic about getting spikes.
But Wanless gives the children more than just spikes.
Donate to primary and secondary schools in the area and mentor them as they progress from primary school to secondary school.
Wanless's work with Spikes for Tykes earned him the honor of being named a Sports Illustrated Faces in the Crowd, as well as a number of other awards back home in Atlanta. And there are no plans for him to stop his work with the nonprofit anytime soon.
I just want to continue it. It doesn't really matter how big it gets, as long as I'll be able to have spikes to collect and donate to the kids. That's all that matters to me.
Whether it's in running or in life, it's clear that Wanless is right on track. In Chapel Hill, I'm Brenna Sukir.
You can watch O'Neal and the rest of the track team blaze around the track in January.
And the volleyball team, they can't be stopped.
The Heels are undefeated in Carmichael. Stick with us to learn the secret to their success.
Un día en el bosque las ratas jugaban. Escucha Smokey antes de tratar. Solo tú. No juegues con fósforos, no juegues con fuego. No hay nada, pero un pobre conejo asustado a un pobre ratón sin casa en
prevenir los fuegos forestales.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad
One more
today.
time. All those boys are much too much. Those boys.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
The volleyball team is still undefeated in Carmichael.
That's right, 13 wins, 0 losses at home. Tio Monval witnessed the Heels add to victories 12 and 13.
The Tar Heels swept Virginia Tech Friday night, but the 3-0 victory was hard-fought. The Heels had to come from behind in every set to grab the win, and coach Joe Segala said his team had to improve if the Heels wanted to win again on Saturday.
We were down every game 1-3. It's like, gosh, it would be nicer to be up 3-1 as opposed to down. And so what we need to do is just come out strong.
Senior Emily McGee carried the defense with 15 digs. She also added 10 points. First-year Paige Neuenfeld led the attack with 16 points, but the players knew they had to do more. They stepped up against Virginia on Saturday and won the 3 sets without falling behind. They led during the whole match with a sharper attack and better defense. The freshmen carried the team on Friday night, but Saturday the seniors showed their experience, and Coach Segala was impressed by the cohesion of his team.
Over this weekend, 15 people played. So this shows we have a lot of depth, we have a lot of different weapons.
Senior Etche Tanner had 11 digs, and Emily McGee carried the offense with 15.5 points. She gives credit to the fans again for their energy, which has played a major role in keeping Carolina undefeated in Carmichael this season.
As you can see, we had a great crowd again tonight, and it's always great to see the support of the Chapel Hill community come out.
The team hopes to see a lot of fans for the last regular season game at home Wednesday, despite Thanksgiving break. In Chapel Hill, I'm Theo Manval.
And the Heels have one more match standing between them and home perfection. Carolina hosts NC State at 2 p.m. Wednesday. And in March, Coach Sylvia Hatchell turned down an invitation to the postseason women's NIT.
Madison Wade joins us in the studio. Hatchell and the Heels have a different attitude about the preseason version, right?
That's right, Jennifer. The Heels have had some big wins so far, including their 15-point victory against Georgetown Wednesday, but that win wasn't pretty.
Frustration. That's the one word that can sum up UNC's 63-48 win against Georgetown. The Tar Heels had an astonishing 35 turnovers, but UNC got a break as the Hoyas struggled to convert those missteps into points. Senior Krista Gross had a team high of 9 turnovers. Fellow senior Tiara Ruffin-Pratt was right behind her with 8. Ruffin-Pratt says her team's Carolina fast playing style was a major factor in the turnovers.
We're so used to playing so fast that we needed to slow down, and we didn't get to that till the second half. So we were trying to push when we needed to step back and set up.
But for 2 UNC underclassmen, the preseason WNIT matchup wasn't about turnovers. It was about making baskets. Sophomore Brittany Roundtree and redshirt freshman Megan Buckland were on fire in the second half, making a combined 9 field goals. Roundtree led the Heels with 22 points, 18 of which were from beyond the arc. Buckland contributed 13 points, like this 3-pointer at the start of the second half. Coach Sylvia Hatchell says her players' positive mentality helped them move past the turnovers to perform at a high level.
This group is pretty mentally tough. You know, that's what I like about them. They don't get rattled about things. 35 turnovers, I'm over here going crazy, and they're just like, hey, we got it. We're pretty, so they're pretty mentally tough.
35 turnovers. That's a lot. But UNC still made it to the championship game against Iowa Sunday.
And were the Heels as turnover prone against the Hawkeyes?
Lucky for the Heels, Carolina committed 20 turnovers, still a lot, but about half as bad as the Georgetown game. It wasn't just the better ball security that gave the Heels the win, though. Tiara Ruffin-Pratt really stepped it up in the title game. She racked up 22 points and 7 rebounds.
Who else stepped up for the Heels?
Well, freshman forward Zelina McDaniel's really coming into her own. She ended with a double-double, 15 points, and she grabbed 14 rebounds. UNC took down Iowa 77-64.
A great start to the season for the Heels, thanks to Update Madison. That was Madison Way live in the studio. And the Tar Heel swimming and diving team hosted the Nike Cup this past weekend against some familiar faces, Duke and NC State among them. The women's team got off to a fast start on Thursday night as both the A team for the 200-yard freestyle relay and the 400-yard medley relay finished first. For the men, freshman Matt Quatera won the individual championship for the 200-yard melody with a time of 1 minute and 48.54 seconds. This is the 9th fastest time in UNC history for this event. But after a slow overall start, the Tar Heels couldn't catch up. Both the men's and women's teams finished second behind NC State.
Cakes and football. That's what Maryland does.
Next, we'll tell you how well they'll do football this weekend.
You're on your way to meet up with friends, but you can't seem to get anywhere quickly. You don't want your friends to be annoyed, so you text, "You're on your way." "5 seconds is the average time your eyes are off the road while texting while driving. Make sure you get where you're going.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
The Heels play Maryland Saturday at 3 p.m. It'll be the last game for the seniors. Guard Jonathan Cooper reflects on his journey as a Tar Heel.
I do say it's a dream come true, and I mean, it's been a long way coming and a lot of hard work has taken place in order for me to get here, but to look back on it and to see how far I have come, I mean, it's absolutely a dream come true.
And with no bowl game for Cooper and his teammates, guys, this is our last chance to make predictions this season. So, Jennifer, who do you have winning this week?
Well, Maryland's had a losing season, so I pick us to win. I mean, our home crowd might not be as strong because of a lot of people being home for Thanksgiving, but, you know, I still expect you to run all over them. I have UNC winning 35-14.
And I was born a Terp, you know. I quickly converted to the Carolina way of life once I came down here. But I have that red blood running in me. But they have a 5-game losing streak, and I predict that Carolina is going to make it 6. I have Carolina winning 28, UMD 12.
We all seem to be on the same page. I have UNC winning 35, Maryland only scoring 13 points.
Maryland's joining the Big Ten. That might be good news for the Terps when it comes to playing the Heels. Here's this week's extra point. The Heels are 2-10 against the Big Ten Conference since 1997. Carolina beat Indiana in 1997 and 1999, but the Heels lost their past 2 games against the Big Ten, against Wisconsin in 2003 and 2005 by a combined score of 52-32.
That does it for this edition of Sports Extra.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again next week.
And we hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving. We are going to have a good time.